Yeah. Nowadays, I got peace. That is unshakable. Damn, Lord, how did you make me so peaceful? Really? Yeah, no. I was like, you gave me a peace that even Epstein list people cannot acquire. God says, bro, that's because you know how to live. I said, wow, thank you. And my favorite Curtis says, now some people live better than others, depending on who they pick in their lives. I said, shit, Fels, you so right. That's why you still my favorite. You know what I'm saying? Now, I said, since I'm so peaceful, Lord, what do you want me to do with all this peace? And God says, you mean you do something with it? I say, yeah. Well, you can tell other people about it. Let me do that just right now. Let me share a story with you about Bob. Now, we're going to call him Bob, just for reference. Now, Bob is a nice man, a respected member of the society. He has a good job. In fact, he has a house in this country, Australia. Having a house in Australia, my brother, that is success. We are literally the richest people on earth per capita. To live here is so expensive. But this man has ticked all of these boxes. But still, problems with women. Why is it so? Because he submitted to a woman. Let me tell you something. If that is you, I don't know what to tell you. In this video, guys, I want to talk about why you should never submit to a woman. In fact, why it's a humiliation, Rachel. Hello, beautiful people. My name is Alula, and welcome to Awaken the Ego. Now, Bob is a respectable guy, like I said. In fact, throughout my years, I admired this man myself. Partly because Bob has a habit of putting other people's needs before his. Like whenever we used to go out at our party days, Bob would go out of his way to make sure people are all right. I always admire that because I could not live to that. But I had no idea that Bob was setting himself up for failure, and this part of his life. Now, as Bob is, maturing, becoming, in about his 40s or so, he meets a woman that is around the same age as him, and then he decides to form a family with her without knowing much about her. After many trials, Bob had a baby. you know, and she began to tell Bob that she doesn't like to live in his house, and she began to make him go to her house. He didn't know it back then, but she was getting him to submit step by step. Now, when the baby came, Bob is locked out of his house, out of the baby's life. Now, Bob is out of mercy of this woman's emotions. Whenever he calls me, I can already tell what this is about. Because if she's happy, he's happy. If she's angry, he's angry. I said, God damn it, bro, you're a fool. Guys, let me tell you something. Submission from a man to a woman is not a natural thing. In fact, everything in this society leads you to submit to women. That is to guys to use you, abuse you, and exploit you. Seriously speaking, if you're not careful in this sector of your life, guys, you're gonna have hell on earth. In fact, you can have all the areas of your life correctly, but if you miss this, you're gonna suffer. Now, whoever finds a good man, a good woman, excuse me, a good man, what the? Now, whoever finds a good woman finds a good thing. Now, even if she's a good woman, if you don't know how to drive, my friend, this woman will still ruin you. Why? A woman has always been a reflection of you. Now, the moment you submit, guys, your value just dropped by 90%. And guess what? You can never get it back. All right, let's get down to the points. What is the first reason for you to never submit to a woman? The first one is freedom. When I say freedom, don't think freedom is like something that is in society, like walk around, peaceful, that kind of, you can say whatever you want. That is freedom collectively. But, guys, let me be honest with you. In fact, most men don't know this because that's been hidden away from men. In fact, the reason why a man is superior is because of his freedom. What do I mean? You see, guys, a woman always seeks support from like other people, institution, or something like that, like emotional support, mental support, like friendship support, like medical support. All these things is mostly dedicated to women. Now a man can go all his life without seeking any of these things. Let me tell you something, guys, as a man, that is a complete freedom right there. Now, when you submit, you just handed that over. That is, guys, exploitation. That is a bad deal. Very unfair. You know what I'm saying? The funny thing about a woman is that the reason why a woman is more intelligent than a man is that a woman will give you sex and expect your commitment and return. Now tell me if that is a good deal or not a good deal. That is a bad, bad deal, my friend. Therefore, you should never look to submit to a woman. And I did not even mention any energetic attraction. All right, let's get down to the second point. And that is, when you submit to a woman, guys, your attraction level has completely dropped. Why is it so? Oh shit. It's because, my friend, you don't know how to live. Yeah. That is not the natural way of life. A woman is supposed to submit to you. But since, guys, this society is built for exploitation, they use the woman as a bait so that they can exploit you, like I said. Now, the attraction part is that as human species, guys, we are supposed to be, and I am supposed to be the leader of the pack. You know what I mean? So the leader means other people have to submit to him in his life. Now, if this is the other way around, then he cannot be a leader. Therefore, he'll be expelled from the group. That is exactly how it is in the animal kingdom. Every time a lion cannot protect his family, he loses. That is your role. Now, when you submit, this role begins to decrease in the sexual sector. And let me be honest with you. If your sexual sector is down, there's nothing to talk about in your relationships. You know what I'm saying? Now let's get down to the third point. Why should you never, ever submit to a woman? Every time you submit to a woman in marriage, oh shit, yeah, let me talk about marriage, guys. Marriage is simply an institution to grab your resources and make you a prisoner, especially in a Western world. Seriously speaking, now a long time ago, when marriage was created, it was supposed to be to unite like two wealthy families. You know what I'm saying? Say for example, you get a lot of wealth, you got a lot of land or something like that, and then you associate yourself with other families like that on your level. And now you marry together so that you can continue to build more wealth and have more control. But nowadays, this has been turned against the people. In fact, if you have no resources, if she has no resources, my friend, you have no reason to get married or having a commitment with somebody. Now, when you get married, first is a spiritual humiliation, which is they make you kneel down to propose to the woman so that you can ask her hand in the marriage. What is this? Guys, that's wrong. That's humiliation right there. And now, if you pass that stage, which you can even decline, Now, if you're a lucky one to pass that stage, guys, what's gonna happen? You're gonna be responsible financially, legally for that person. And good luck separating yourself from this. This will be a lifelong battle. This will so much interfere with your life. In fact, all these legal things, lawyers, judges, all these things are built around this. Now, every time you submit to a woman, you have just left yourself open for this exploitation. If you have a baby, that's for at least 18 years. Yeah, you get the point, guys. Let me close this video by sharing a story of my grandfather. You see, my grandfather, he lived well in this sector of his life. In fact, he and my grandmother married for 50 something years. But let me tell you something. My grandfather never submitted to my grandmother. That does not mean he didn't love her. He just never submitted to her. Meaning that he set the laws down and she enforced the laws, his laws. And when you submit, you can be that figure in your life, guys. All right, bye-bye.